What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, the Jeep probably doesn't look weird, but if you've been following the channel, you probably noticed something is missing on the rear, and you probably saw that in the last video if you saw our trip out to Hidden Falls. The rear tire carrier is officially gone for the year. Kind of want to try out something new, something I've never seen done on one of these Jeeps. Everything worked out perfect. It was a fun little project. I was able to drive the Jeep with doing it because I wasn't taking anything major off. I just had the tire off the back. I just kind of threw the spare in the back. But yeah, the carrier is officially done, so we're gonna kind of go over that and show you a little bit more in depth than you guys have heard about. I kind of threw some specs up on my Instagram, but not really much detail on it, so we're gonna go into that. So stay tuned and let's go check it out. Alright, so we're back in the garage. Kind of want to get out of the wind. It was a little noisy out there, but this is going to be the official YouTube reveal of the new tire carrier setup. So let's check it out, guys. Alright, so one of my favorite features of this whole thing is the fact that I can still use half of the cargo area. I kind of built this thing around being able to do that. I still wanted somewhat of a storage area in the back and not completely lose it. That's kind of the reason I did the tire vertical versus having it, I guess, sit flat in the back, kind of facing forward. Okay, so the specs on this air system are basically, it's a 4-gallon tank and a Viair 444 compressor. I think that was the model number on it. If you've been following me, you know that I not only power a set of horn blasters up front, but I like to run air tools, specifically an impact wrench, and airing up my tires. So I've got the quick connect down there with the gauge on there, and then got that is my line for my air horns. I'm running a 1/2-inch line to that. But honestly, the main goal with this whole setup was to keep it as clean as possible. And if you know much about the WK2 platform, you know running a 33.5-inch tire on these is a big tire. Coming from a big tire requires, somewhere to throw that spare. Now, I can't imagine going out on a trail without a spare. I don't trailer this thing out there, so I can't imagine, being 3 hours from home and not having a spare if I needed it. So that was the whole reason I had it on the back. I've had this thing on the roof, I've had it on the back, and now I've got it back inside. With that big of a tire, though, it does not fit in the OEM location. So you got to get creative, which this was kind of the best all-around idea that I came up with. I kind of referenced off my old K5 Blazer, where it had a interior vertical mount like this, and I ran with that. The nice thing about these WK2s is they don't keep the spare underneath. So you've got a big hole in the back where you can you kind of play around with and figure something out. I still wanted to retain part of the cargo lid, so we went ahead and cut that in half. You saw that, but I think honestly the hardest thing to figure out on this whole thing was mounting that jack, because before I had everything in the back, and I'll throw up some pictures here, kind of my other setup, and it worked out great with the tank and all my recovery gear in the back, all that stuff, and the jack was able to fit right in there. But there wasn't a ton of room to fit a jack. You can tell there wasn't going to be any room, and even with that gap there, I've got to have room to get this spare off. It is not the easiest thing to pull out, but I figure, how many times am I going to be pulling out my spare? That tire is heavy. It's about 67 pounds, so you include the wheel. You're going to have around 100 pounds for wheel and tire, which, is not exactly fun to move around, but it is doable. So the solution for the jack was this. So basically, when I originally started this, I had it cut off about right here. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I can extend that out and add the jack in. And so I welded some bolts in, drilled a hole through that square tube and ran a bolt through, welded it on both sides. And basically the jack can hang from that. And then down at the bottom, there's a little lip that it can sit on. So you're not getting full pressure on those bolts when it bounces around. It's got something a little bit to set on. Now, if you're wondering what those towels are in there for, well, if you know anything about me, I can't stand stuff rattling around. I will come up with some kind of solution to figure that out. If you ever have a chance to meet my wife or know my wife, you can ask her how much I can't stand just random noises in the back. I've actually been messing around with this jack because I've gotten a little bit of rattling just from the jack itself, not the mount. But I've been figuring out every possible way to keep that thing quiet. So basically, it's hanging at the top and bolts down, and then I have a strap that's connected to the wheel that I can clamp down. That second strap is basically holding the jack, the jack arm or whatever, tight so it doesn't rattle around. That's all that bottom strap is for. The other strap is holding it against the mount at the bottom. So that thing fits nice and snug in there. I took the wheels off. So basically the wheels normally mount in there. I took those things off and just keep them in my recovery bag, and I can throw them on there when I need them. So this is with my seat folded down, you can see. So I keep my jack handle, and then in case, my impact wrench is just messing up and not wanting to work, I've got a lug wrench to use. You never want to keep something that's going to fail and not have a backup. And then back here, I've got first aid bag, and then I've got my little jump starter box down there, and then I've got a shovel up front, one of those little fold up Smitty belt shovels. But yeah, seats close and recline like normal. You can see a little bit more on how I have this mount. And then the last thing I wanted to figure out, I've been trying to figure out this for the longest time, is where to put all these patches. When we went to Colorado a couple years back, I was like, you know what? I want to start collecting some patches. And of basically everywhere we go. So we started in Colorado. We go to Estes Park all the time. do Pikes Peak, Grand Lake, all through that, the Ouachita Mountains in Oklahoma. Let's see what else. We got our badge at Bridgeport, and hopefully we're going to get some more coming up here on spring break. Just went to Hidden Falls. And then I got my my 2 club patches, Jeep Around Texas, North Texas Jeep Club. And North Texas Jeep Club was kind of the first one that kind of started this all. When I first got my Jeep, I automatically was like, you know, I got to get in North Texas Jeep Club. Everyone around here that's got a Jeep, you got to be in North Texas Jeep Club. So I ended up turning these decals. I put them on some plastic sheet and turning them in some Velcro, and the Velcro sticks perfect to this back carpet back here. And then I got some fun patches. I visit Buc-ee's pretty frequently. Obviously got to have Texas patch representing. And then since, you know, you guys probably know I'm a Star Wars fan, kind of where all this based off of, and then I kind of went off in another direction, but love Star Wars, so I got to add that in. So I'm sure you guys have figured out by now that I love doing crazy projects like this. You know, I get an idea in my head, and like all I can do is think about that and like how I'm going to figure it out. So I will stay up late all the time, jotting down notes and figuring it out. I'll go test fit stuff all the time. My wife usually gets mad at me because I'll stay up till 3 in the morning working on stuff. Usually that is the only time I can get away from having to watch Rory. Usually she is a handful during the day. One of these days I'm going to get her in a video and show you guys how crazy she is. I will have my bolts out and random stuff, and she'll just come by and, you know, steal them, run off with them. So I have to always make sure I, you know, put that stuff up so she can't grab it. So usually I will find any time I can to get content for you guys when she's either taking a nap or late at night, whatever. So if you guys see me taking videos at night, that's why. So yeah, that is the new tire carrier setup. I love this thing. I can actually fit in my garage now. Our garage is somewhat small, I guess, for a normal garage. So when I had the tire on the back, it wouldn't fit. Like, maybe if I didn't have my workbench up there, but with that on there and all that, it was like I could never work on the Jeep in the garage. I'd always have to work on the driveway. So I was like, I gotta figure something out. So here it is. As far as I know, this is the first setup ever done like this on a WK2. There might be someone out there that I've never seen, but I've seen most of the more well-known people with WK2s, and I've never seen anything like this. They're usually rear mount like I did before, but this interior setup is kind of a game changer. I know a lot of you guys that overland probably can't run something like this because you have all your extra stuff in the back, but for somebody that that likes to go out and off-road, but usually will stay in a house or something, not camping out of their Jeep, this setup is awesome. At least if you're running a huge tire like this. You know, if you're running a factory tire, you want to throw that under there, or a little bit bigger than factory. I think I ran up to a 32-inch tire and I was able to shut the lid. Problem with that is still no air system like this. If you're running to run like an ARB setup or whatever up in the front, that will work. But with this setup, I kind of had to get creative. So you guys saw my big black duffel bag at the intro of this video. That's kind of my new bag of recovery gear. Everything that basically I'll need out on the trails. The stuff that I'm not necessarily not going to use on the trails, but the stuff that I want to keep all the time in here, I keep in little compartments or wherever I can fit it, like the jack handle, jumper cables, all that stuff I'm not going to keep in my recovery bag, but stuff like my ropes and snatch fogs, all that stuff is in my bag. So next video, I'm going to kind of go over that, all the stuff that you guys should probably have out on the trails with you in a recovery situation. So make sure to stay tuned. If you're not already subscribing, subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Got a couple more things coming up. Hopefully some new trips coming up. Super excited about that. I'm excited about the suspension. Finally got some decent shocks up front. The Bilsteins are awesome. Much better upgrade over the OEM shocks. I've been running them for a while. You know, I'm sure that comes to a surprise as a lot of you that I was running OEM shocks, but you know, it's finally time for an upgrade. I highly suggest the Bilsteins if you are able to run them. I know the newer WK2s, they don't make them for that, but if you are able to run the Bilsteins, highly suggest it. So yeah, you guys love the video, give me a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and we will see you guys later. And so I almost completely forgot to show you guys kind of how I made this thing. So this is going to be Rory's camera debut. Here she is, all her glory. Surprised she's not trying to steal my phone right now. So let's check it out, guys.